Hello everyone and welcome back to Arctic Retro. Today I have taken out one of my Atari machines because today I want to check out this little card. It's the A8 PicoCart for 8-bit Atari machines, and yeah, it's a thing I have to build myself, and I always like to build those kinds of expansions for the old machines. So this is what I'm gonna do in this video, and then I'm gonna test it on this machine and see if it works. The build projects is these parts here, so you can see it's a very simple build. You need a Raspberry Pi Pico, or you need a cheap clone that costs $2–3. You need some pin headers, and then you need this card, which is the actual translation card from the Pico to the Atari. And this is an open source project, and you find it on GitHub. I love those open source projects where you can build things yourself and even modify and improve if you want to. I actually was a little bit too quick. You actually need to have one of these purple clone Pico boards, and this does not work with the original green Raspberry Pi Pico since it has a different pin layout. And one of the nice things with this is that it contains 16 megabytes of flash memory, so you actually don't need a memory card, and 16 megabytes is a lot when you're dealing with 8 to 64 kilobytes of cartridges for the old machines, so you can put a lot of games and stuff onto this. Before I continue, I just want to thank my sponsor PCBWay. They made this PCB here for a 1581 floppy disk drive, and they deliver amazing quality and really fast shipping times. Besides PCB manufacturing, they also do 3D printing, and I got this case for the 1581 floppy drive made by PCBWay in amazing good quality, and yeah, very nice white color. So if you want to have your own PCBs manufactured, then head over to PCBWay.com and check out their services. And for the PCB silk screen, they now have a new option for UV printing multicolor. So check that out. Likewise, if you need something 3D printed or CNC machined or made some sheet metal, then they have services for that. So thank you PCBWay for supporting my YouTube channel. This isn't a completely new project. Yeah, the files here are like 8 months old. I didn't hear about it before recently. If you visit GitHub, you find it on Robin H. Edwards. Address here, I'll link to that in the description. And here you can find all the necessary information and binary files for uploading the firmware and stuff like that. So yeah, it should be fairly straightforward. And there's also some 3D print files if you want to make a case for it. While I do a lot of Commodore stuff on this channel, I actually love the Atari machines as well. And I got this Atari 800 XL, which is in very nice condition. As you can see, I did some restoration on it a while back ago in some videos, and with an Atari 400 as well, and yeah, XE. I replaced the keyboard membrane on this. I also made a few of these homemade cartridges where you can burn the contents of it yourself, and you select which of the 8 cartridges you have on this chip with this dip switch here, and these I got made by PCBWay. And if you want to have made such PCBs yourself, you can easily find them on PCBWay shared projects. Alright, let's build this together. There's actually 2 variants of this card depending on what kind of machine you want to use it on. You have this one which has the clone oriented like this. There's also another variant where it's placed like this. It has to do with how the cartridge slot is placed on the machine, I guess, which one fits the best, and if you want to have it in a case or not. So this is just a matter of soldering some pin headers and then we should be good to go. I always prefer to install a socket, however, since this has pin headers, I'm not really sure if it's gonna fit, if it's actually gonna fit into the cartridge slot. So this time I'm not gonna do that. Hopefully this nano board is working. If you want to build something like this, there's always a little bit of research you need to do, and in this case it's figuring out which is top and bottom side of the PCB, and it's clearly marked, this side top, front, and there's marking for the USB, and the USB port goes in like this. And then it's just to solder the pin headers. Yeah, I think it doesn't matter which direction you solder them in. You need to cut one side anyway. Yeah, you want to cut off the parts that sticks up after you have soldered it. And always read the information on the pages describing the project, because there's always something you need to be aware of or some important information you need before you start. For example, it came with these angled pin headers, but I'm not really sure where they go. There isn't any holes for it. Must be, yeah, obviously it's onto the Pico. There are 4 holes there, but I'm not really sure if you need it, because that is some programming pins, I think, but it has USB, so that's what we're gonna use when we're gonna program it. Okay, I'm just gonna solder it in, and yeah, that should be quick and easy. The pins are quite close, so you need quite good soldering iron and some good soldering tin. I lifted it up now so it rests in the pins, and I'm just gonna tack a few pins just to get the alignment correct. I think it's definitely better to cut off the pins after you have done the soldering. So I could try with a socket, but I don't want to install a socket, then find out it doesn't fit and I have to desolder it afterwards. Yes, that looks nice and flush. Not all the way down on that side, so I'm just gonna fix that by reheating that pin and pushing it. Alright, then I have like 80 pins to solder. The pins are quite thick, so they require a little heat to melt the solder around, but this works okay. I'm using a very thin solder tin here, 0.5 millimeters, leaded. That was that side. Just double check and see every pin is okay and nothing is bridged together. Works fine. Then the other side. Yes, that looks fine, I think. Now it's time to cut off the pins, and these thick steel pins, they are, yeah, or iron, I don't know for sure they are very hard, and they will fly very hard into your room when you cut them, and you can get it into your eye. So I just do it like this when I'm using side cutter at least. Yeah, I can feel it. It actually hurts my finger when it pops out. So that's a little force on the solder joints, and I also like to just solder them, go over them afterwards, just to make them look a little bit better after cutting. There's always some flux after soldering left over on the board. I like to clean it up with some alcohol. Just use a little brush for that, and yeah, you could always clean it off in water. You can always do like this with some paper towel. I'm not gonna solder in this angled pin headers here because I don't have use for it, but there's some other thing here, and you can install a reset switch. See if I have one. Yeah, I found one. It didn't come with this kit, so maybe it's better if I had one with that long protruding button that can stick up through the case if I want to make a case, but I don't have such a switch. I mean, you don't need a switch. If you need to reset it, you can always just pull it out or you can use a wire just to connect. Yeah, that looks good, and now it should be ready to program. And to do that you need a USB-C cable that can support data, not only charging. Besides that, it's just gonna turn it on while holding down this boot selector button, and then it just pops up like a USB drive on your computer, and you just drop one file into that folder, and then it resets and boots from the firmware you provided. Okay, let's see now what it does. Hold the boot cell button, insert the cable. Yeah, there you got it. Now shows as drive E. Then I go to the firmware catalog here on GitHub and download the file. So there's the file. I can open it in hex editor just to make sure, and it looks like binary file, yes. And then it's simply a matter of just drag and drop into the USB disk, and then it closes and it boots and it should be ready. Yes, and now we actually have another USB drive SE. It's called A8 PicoCart, and it's empty and it has a welcome text file. Drag ROM, car and XCX files here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's find a few games to put on this and see how it performs on the machine. To find games, you just visit some of the more well-known archives. There's a lot of sites with Atari games, and I have downloaded a few now, and just gonna transfer them over to the USB device. So this is Alley Cat, and then we have the A8 PicoCart there. Just drag and drop. I'm gonna copy a few more and then we'll test. So that was quite easy. I found a few games. Some games you download are in a different format that's not supported by this. It could be disk images, and it can also be like CAS files, cassette files, or ATX. I think this doesn't support. Anyway, it goes in with this side front, and since I don't have a cartridge, I just need to use my finger and just be a little bit careful not to destroy the card. So when you turn this on now, it should present a menu. Well, it didn't, just a red screen. Okay, I need to check a little bit more. Well, that was a disappointment. It is definitely correctly inserted. Okay, looking closely at this, I seem to have been doing a mistake. When I look at the picture, on this variant it says this side top front and Pico is on that side, but on the variant that I have it says this side top front, but I guess that means this should be against you in the cartridge slot. However, the Pico is soldered on the other side, and yeah, it actually makes sense now that I see it. That's a bummer. So I actually need to desolder and turn it around. Hopefully I didn't damage the Pico. Yeah, it should be fairly quick. It's quite easy to desolder these freshly soldered joints. Yeah, that's a lesson to be learned. Check everything of the documentation and make sure you understand where things go, and yeah, don't do like me. So I am a little bit worried that the cover on the cartridge port is gonna short out some pins on the card, so I definitely need a cartridge, but for now I'm just gonna use some anti-static plastic. So it goes this way around. Okay, let's see now. Cross fingers that the Pico wasn't damaged. Yeah, right, it works. Very nice. I always like it when my faults didn't cause any damage. So how does this work? Cursor up, down and return for select. Seems like you can have folders here because there's a back button. And X for boot and escape for find. So you can actually search if you have a lot of files. That's cool. So let's try something here. I have some XEX files and a few ATR files. I have just one ATR, it's the pit stop. Let's see if that works. No, that didn't work. I guess it isn't all games that works, perhaps. How about Iron Power Pinball from 1984? Yeah, that seems to work fine. I didn't connect the joystick or anything. Let's try another one. Let's see what that reset button does. Oh, it just crashed then, and then reset the machine, and then you're back. Let's try Alley Cat. Yeah, loading Alley Cat. I didn't hook up any audio, so you won't hear anything, but yeah, this works. If you press reset on the cartridge and then reset on the machine, it goes into the menu. Magic from 1990. Yeah. Push start to play. Sorry about the reflection on the screen. Yeah, okay. So here we have another game. Not really sure how to play at all. Probably need a joystick. Yeah, so that reset button is handy if you don't want to turn on and off the machine. Okay, this works too. So it seems like those XEX files work, and at least that ATR file there didn't work. Master Blaster, a lot of pinball games. Yeah, it says in the documentation that it's limited support for ATR files, so that did not work. But maybe some other ATR files work. That was one more that didn't work. I mean, I just randomly picked some downloads, and some with the long file names, maybe ATR. Alright then, I need a case for this, so I have downloaded the models from the GitHub page and yeah, load it into the slicer here. So just gonna print it, standard print settings. So there's the top of the case and the bottom, and there's also a logo sign plate. And this should take 2 hours and 20 minutes. That was the print, and it came out really nice, I think. So let's see if we can get this to fit. I think it goes this way with the screw holes in through the PCB. And then on top, yeah, that fits perfectly, and then you can reach the USB port down through here. Nifty. Now the hardest part with these projects, I think, is to find the correct screws. But I found these, and yeah, I think they're gonna work. Yeah, I think they're exactly the maximum length. Yeah, that works. And then we have this logo. So I just use a little paint pen here, but I think it will be hard to get it nice. I'll try. Well, it was very hard to be accurate on these very small letters, but yeah, I can see what it says for sure. Use some glue. I forgot it was newly painted. It works. It looks homemade. And you can reach the reset button down there if you use a tool, but a longer button would have been better. Okay, so now it just goes in like this. A little bit hard to fit, but that works. Alright, I think that was it for this video. It was a fun little build project, quite easy if you follow the instructions, which I obviously didn't do all the way, but I managed to to fix it. So, but that's how it is. You make mistakes, you learn by them, and yeah, by that you get better, I guess. So I just want to say thanks for watching, and wish you all a happy and nice summer, and thanks to my supporters at Patreon, my members, and all my subscribers and viewers. See you next time. Bye bye.